Huh. Okay, let's begin our class now. We are talking.
Okay,
Okay, we've been discussing
film
films
in
in
1920s and
1930s and
how back
how
then
back then
film
film
categories,
categories
as we know them today, had not
had
yet
not
been
yet been
established.
established.
We said
We said
that
that
by today's
today's
standards,
standard,
many of the films of the 20s and
20s
30s
and
would be
30s would be
considered
considered
hybrids.
hybrids.
That is
That
a
is a
mixture
mixture
of
of
styles that
styles
wouldn't
that wouldn't
exactly
exactly fit
many
into
of today's
today's
categories.
categories.
And in that
And in that
context,
context,
today
we are going to talk
a
about
filmmaker
a
who began
filmmaker who began making very unique
in the late
films in the late
1920s.
1920s.
He was French,
He was French,
and his name was
Jean
Painlevé.
Painlevé.
Jean
Jean
Painlevé
Painlevé
was born in
1902.
1902. He made
He
his
made
first
his first
film
film
in
in
1928.
1928.
Now,
Now,
in a way,
Painlevé's
films
film
conform to
conformed
norms
to
of the
norms of
20s
the
and 30s.
20s and 30s.
That is,
That is, they don't fit very
into
neatly into the categories we use to classify films today.
That said,
That said,
even by the standards of the 20s and 30s,
and 30s, the Painlevé's films were unique
hybrid
of styles.
He had a
He had a
special way of fusing,
or some people might say confusing,
science
and fiction.
His films
His
begin
films
with
begin with
facts,
facts,
but then
they
they
become more and more fictional.
They
Gradually
add more and more fictional
elements.
In fact,
Painlevé was known for saying that science is fiction.
Painlevé was a pioneer
in underwater filmmaking,
and a lot of his short films focused on the aquatic
animal worlds.
He liked to show small underwater creatures, displaying what seemed like familiar human characteristics. What we think of as unique to humans. He might take a clip of a mollusk going up and down in the water and set it to music, to make it look as if the mollusk were dancing to the music, like a human being, that sort of thing. But then he suddenly changed the image or narration to remind us how different the animals are, how unlike humans. He confused his audience in the way he portrayed the animals he filmed, mixing up our notions of the categories of human and animals. The films make us a little uncomfortable at times because we're uncertain about what we're seeing. It gives his films an uncanny feature, the familiar made unfamiliar, the normal made suspicious. He liked twists. He liked the unusual. In fact, one of his favorite sea animals was the seahorse, because with seahorses, it's the male that carries the eggs, and he thought that was great. His first and most celebrated underwater film is about the seahorse. Susan, you have a question?
But underwater filmmaking wasn't that unusual, was it? I mean, weren't there other people making movies underwater?
Well, actually, it was pretty rare at that time. I mean, we're talking the early 1930s here.
But what about Jacques Cousteau? Wasn't he like an innovator, with underwater photography too?
Jacques Cousteau. Well,
Painlevé and
Cousteau
did
both film underwater, and they were both innovators, so you're right in that sense. But that's pretty much where the similarities end. First of all, Painlevé was about 20 years ahead of Cousteau. And Cousteau's adventures were high-tech with lots of fancy equipment, whereas Painlevé kind of patched equipment with Cousteau usually large animals, usually in the open sea, whereas Painlevé generally filmed small animals, and he liked to film in shallow water. What else?
And what else?
Well, the main difference was that Cousteau simply investigated and presented the facts. He didn't mix in fiction. He was a strict documentarist. He set the standard really for the nature documentary. LeVay, on the other hand, as we said before, mixed in elements of fiction, and his films are much more artistic, incorporating music as an important element. John, you have a question? Well, maybe I shouldn't be asking this, but if part of the film are so special, so good, why haven't we ever heard of them? I mean, everyone has heard of Jack So. Well, that's a fair question. The short answer is that Pavlov's style just never caught on with the general public. I mean, it probably goes back, at least in part, to what I mentioned earlier. People didn't know what to make of his films. They were confused by them. Whereas Cousteau's documentaries were very straightforward. Met people's expectations more than Pavlov's filmed. But your true film history is about what known about, and Pavlov is still highly respected in many circles.